Okay, now for spheres. Spheres are super easy because they only have one variable to worry about. So let's go ahead and talk about our parts of a sphere. We know that we have a radius. This is your center. And this is what we call the great circle. It's kind of like the equator of the Earth. Your formula for surface area. Notice we don't have lateral this time. We just have surface area or volume because we don't have a base to worry about. So the surface area formula is 4 pi radius squared. So we'd square our radius, times it by 4, and then stick pi at the end. For volume, we're going to do 4/3 times pi times radius cubed. So pay attention to that. All right, so let's look at the first one. Again, the only variable that you have to worry about is your radius. And if we read here, find the exact surface area of a sphere with a radius of 4. And they said exact, which means pi is going to be in our answer, not in the calculator. So surface area formula is 4 times pi times our radius squared, so 4 squared. So in your calculator, we would say 16 times 4 times pi. 16 times 4 is 64. 64 pi would be our surface area. And we're working with centimeters. All right, next one, we're just doing the volume. Again, we need our radius, so we look at our picture. The radius is drawn of 18. And so our formula here is 4/3 times pi times our radius cubed. So what you would do is do 18 cubed times 4, divide all that by 3, and then stick pi at the end. So if you did 18 cubed in the calculator times 4 divided by 3, you would get 7,776 pi. We're working with centimeters again, cubed. If you forget if it's squared or cubed in the formula, look here at your labels. Well, we've been doing this whole time. That's kind of a trick for you to use with spheres. All right, next one. So this one's a little different from just actually given the radius, find the formula. They're saying that we have a sphere in it. We know the volume is 4,000 pi divided by 3 cubic units. Find the surface area. Well, our goal here is to find the radius so that we can find the surface area. So we're going to have to work our formulas backwards to be able to find the radius. So let's keep ourselves organized. Step 1, let's look at our volume formula. So volume equals 4/3 times pi times radius cubed. Well, I know the volume, so we're going to replace that with 4,000 pi over 3. And let's write our formula again. All right, a couple of things to think about here. We're dividing by 3 on both sides, so those basically cancel each other out here. So now we're left with 4,000 pi equals 4 pi radius cubed. So we're trying to get, our goal is to get the radius. So let's get everything away from that, which means we need to divide both sides by 4 pi. What's going to happen over here is those cancel each other out. The pi's cancel out. We're just saying 4,000 divided by 4, which gives us 1,000. And that's going to equal our radius cubed. So now we have to cube root that. And you can do that in your calculator. Notice I put the 3 there. That cancels that out. And so our radius would be 10. We're saying what number times itself 3 times gives us 1,000. Well, that would be 10. Okay, so that's step 1. We found our radius. Step 2, now let's plug it into our surface area formula of 4 pi r squared. So we're saying 4 times pi times our radius of 10 squared. So 10 squared is 100 times 4 is 400. 400 pi, and we're working with units squared, and that would be your answer. So you have to find the radius before you can finish this problem out. So now let's do the flipped version of this. This next one, we're given the surface area and they want to know the volume. So step 1 is, again, let's start with what we know. We know surface area formula is 4 pi r squared. We know the surface area, so let's replace that. Our goal is to get the radius, so let's divide both sides by 4 pi. The pi's are going to cancel each other out. 36 divided by 4 is 9. So 9 equals radius squared, which means our radius is 3 when we square root it. So step 1 is done. Now let's go to step 2 to our volume formula. 4/3 pi r cubed. We know our radius is 3, so we can say 4/3 times pi times 3 cubed, which is 27. 27 times 4 divided by 3 gives me 36. Put the pi next to it, and that would be your volume. Can they have the same surface area and volume? Yes. When that radius is a certain number, that can happen. So when you see questions like this, pay attention to what was given and what you're looking for. When you're dealing with spheres, you always need to find the radius. So set up what you were given, work the formula backwards and find your radius. The steps are going to be the same every time, and then plug it into the other formula.